What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video, another day, another dollar. We're going to be breaking down our futures contract per usual. And then we're going to take a look at NVDA as well. Marked on my chart yesterday just for shits and gigs, just kind of looking at equities. I haven't looked at equities in quite some time as I've mostly been trading the futures contracts, just as they tend to be the more, the leader of it, if anything. But I decided to look at NVIDIA. There was a lot of talk about some stuff on NVIDIA, and they just recently came off of their all-time high. So I wanted to kind of look at the chart and see what they were looking like, and we'll go over some destinations, or what I had marked as destinations, and then all of those got obliterated to the upside today as they had some AI chip news come out for them, which was a pretty significant catalyst. So good on that part. And then also going to discuss my paper swing trade that I took on SPY. I was buying SPY calls that expire at the end of this week. I was buying the 473 call. Bought them for about $1.55 on these 2 days here as we were drifting down due to the lack of extension on the downside. We just felt like it was good risk reward to come back into a balance on the daily and then come back up to test that weekly balance high that we were discussing in yesterday's video. So in the money pretty good right now. Those contracts are selling for about $3.80 or so. Have about 20 of those contracts. And again, it is just a paper trade. It's not, I did not risk any real money on it. However, if you would have bought 20 contracts at that $1.55 price, you'd be sitting pretty good right now. P&L on that is about 5K. So, just after, 2 days of holding that, we're in the money really good right now as we are closing at the 4,800 level and in the money good on SPY. So I'll show you guys. I might show you guys that on a different day when I decide to exit what the total P&L is. But right now I'm gonna hold into it to potentially come back into one-time framing mode on the daily and start one-time framing up on the weekly again. And we'll look at that as well. As far as my trades today, I did really well. I only took one trade today. If I bring up my positions, I only took a very small lot. I didn't want to get too large. But overall, 3 trades, 3 winners, net $119. I was only in the trade for, maybe 20 minutes. So $120 for 20 minutes of work, more or less. Can't complain about that, right? Taking small winners, just build it over time. That adds up, right? So very proud on how that worked out today. And I'll discuss that trade when we look at our smaller time frame. But right now we're going to look at our larger time frame. We're going to look at the daily. We're going to look at the daily here as something has changed, right? We've been one time framing down on the daily for the last 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row. In yesterday's video, I was discussing about the lack of extension to the downside and how the trend could possibly be slowing. And if we did come back up and target back above 47.37, we would start potentially attacking those destinations on the upside. Well, we knocked out every single upside destination that I had on the list and had given to you guys. It was pretty amazing how that works out. Today was a very good range, light volume for the most part, but very good range, as the range was 65 points to the upside, kind of exceeding what I was expecting to the upside. I was expecting maybe about a 40-point range today, as that's been about the average of roughly 40 points has been about the average. So we exceeded that, but on very light volume. So today was mostly short covering, and we did not stop one time framing up all day long in the shorter time frame. But we are now back to balance on our daily time frame, right? We stopped that by taking out a previous time frame's high. That works on every time frame, right? If you're one time framing down on the time frame, meaning we're setting lower lows, lower highs, continue to take out lower lows, that only stops once we stop taking out lower lows, right? This time we took out this high, now we're setting higher low, higher high. In order for that trend to continue to the upside now, we need to come out of balance to the upside and start setting higher highs and higher lows and start one time framing up on the daily time frame. So we're now going to say we are in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 day balance. Okay, we're going to use today's high as our balance high, and then today Friday's low as the balance low. Friday's low being 47.1975. It's going to be our balance low. So you guys want to go ahead and mark that on your chart. Balance low, like so. I like to have mine a little bit enlarged, and buyers want to defend that area. Okay, now we have our balance high. Today's high of 48.0325 is going to be today's high. 48.0325 balance high. All right, so buyers want to get above. Let's go ahead and mark that up a little bit. Buyers want to get above 48.0325. Sellers do not want the market to get above that level. Once we get back above 4,800, we start finding acceptance. Your next targets are going to be attacking this trend day here, where we had a double distribution day down. We'll look at that on our 30-minute time frame, show you those distributions, and then attack the all-time high. Those are going to be your destinations on the upside. Now, keep in mind, all right, it's all baby steps. So in order for us to start running again, we got to start crawling, right? Or we've been crawling. Now we got to start walking up. And then after we walk up, we got to start running, right? It's all steps, all baby steps. So in order for us to get to the weekly high and start taking out the weekly high on the weekly time frame and start one time framing up, we got to take out our balance high first on the daily. Okay, we take out 48.0325 and start one time framing up on the daily. Your next target on the upside is going to be those other daily highs, and then attack the weekly balance high at 48.3975. And then this is what the weekly will look like inside of that, right? Weekly inside of that range. This is what that looks like. The weekly wants to take that out and then start one time framing up on the weekly and continue to one time frame up on our monthly. Okay, then we'll continue to one time frame up on our monthly by taking out that 39.75 level. One time framing up is still strong on the monthly time frame. That will not stop until we take out a previous month's low, and it does not look like that's going to happen anytime soon, as the trend is still very strong to the upside. So monthly still healthy, weekly's in a balance. Okay, weekly's back to a balance, which is healthy. And then the daily now back to balance after one time framing down for several days in a row now, back into an initial 5-day balance. We take out that 48.0325 level, start one time framing up. We'll start attacking those distributions on the upside, and then ultimately that high day at 48.35 and then 48.3975 will be the next upside target in the larger picture. Now let's go ahead and look at our 30-minute time frame. Look at that, break that down for you guys real quick, and just kind of review what happened, and then kind of discuss one of my trades that I took today. So today we ended up with a triple distribution day to the upside, okay? Triple distribution day to the upside. Now, what I was talking about as far as a double distribution, a trend day that we have to take back, I'm talking about this day here. We had a double distribution day. I'm about to highlight those distributions, this being one of them, okay? I'm going to highlight that upper distribution, and then this being the lower distribution that I'm highlighting from that day. And we are currently trying to get back into that range. That right there, okay? So that area right here is the lower distribution. We're trying to find acceptance within that lower distribution from that day. We were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we were 8 wide here, okay? 7 wide, 8 wide around the 48.15 level. So if we find acceptance up here and then we take out today's high at 48.03, we should go up and trade at 48.15 and then work our way into the single prints. Now, why is it a double distribution day? It's because we have single prints here, right? This time frame here, see how there's a gap in this area? I'll highlight that and then change it a different color real quick. Let's make it purple or pink, however you want to view it. But that area right there, okay? That area is where we had a intraday gap to the downside essentially. So we treat each distribution as a separate day. And right now we're trying to find acceptance in that lower distribution or that lower distribution range, however you want to look at it. And then after we get that, we'll fill the single prints 48.27 and start taking out that high day at 48.35. Okay. So that is the double distribution that I was discussing and what we have to work back on. That lower distribution being a rather large range. The range on that distribution was 26 points. So rather large range. We got to work our way up into that. Get through the sticky situation here at the 48.14 level and then fill the single prints and then all-time highs. And the weekly high is going to be in the sights. Today, let's discuss today. Triple distribution to the upside, okay? We opened up in the previous day's range, okay? I said if we could not take out the daily low in yesterday's video, if we could not take out the daily low at 47.1975, fill the single prints, we would work our way up to 47.4550. If we open above that 37 level, we get 45.50, then 47.6025 daily high, and then we'd attack the rest of these daily highs. Now, initially, I was really only looking for this market to push up to 47.7175. Okay, I really wasn't expecting this market to grind as high as it did and close up here at 48.03. The reason I say that is because when I got involved in the market was on a pullback and we had one time framed up all day long as well. That's something to note, something that doesn't happen very often. That just goes to show you that there was a prevailing bid and short covering, as well as other market participants starting to step back into this market. We never took out a previous time frame's low. Not a single time frame for the entire day took out a previous time frame's low. We continue to set higher highs and higher lows all day long. Not a single one. This is a true trend day up. Okay, very strong, very powerful day. It's going to be very difficult to take this day back. Not impossible, but very difficult to take this day back if we do decide to pull back at some point. But we do have a triple distribution to the upside. Where I got involved was right here around the 60 level. We'd been one time framing up. We had created a set of single prints here, very small set, but I'm gonna highlight it real quick. That area that I just highlighted seems very small in the grand scheme of things, especially when you start looking at these single prints up here, that range and much larger. But very small set of single prints right in this range here. I was looking, all right, we had one time frame up, we pulled back, held the single prints. I wasn't able to get involved here. We started to push up, and then once we had this pullback here in, was this A, B, C, D, E period? In E period. Once we had this pullback and I seen we could, the bid just kind of stepped in, I was like, you know what? They're going to go and get these other targets on the upside. So I got involved as soon as we took out this high here at 47.6125. I was like, we're going to continue to push up higher. This market's very strong. So I got long 47.61, a 3 lot. We came up to 66.50. I took one off, and then we continued to push up. I took another off 47.68, and then I took the last one off 47.70, as I was kind of seeing a little bit of hesitation around that 47.75, and that was my expectation on the day of where this market potentially could go. Okay, I was like, that's right around the 38 to 40 point range. We haven't really had much of a large push lately, and then today's whole range, being 65 points, exceeded what I thought was going to happen by 20 points or so to the upside. So obviously there was no reason for me to get out of the trade other than to just take profits. And that was my target, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm happy with how I managed my trade. I stayed in it on any pullback. And I had an opportunity to add to the position on pullbacks, but I didn't want to exceed my risk. I was kind of looking for an afternoon pullback low at some point. I was looking to maybe buy around the 55, 56 level and then rotate back up higher, and then get this distribution that we had later in the day. But that didn't play out. We continued to one time frame up, just a very strong market. So once I got out of that trade, I mean, there was really no reason for me to get out of it. However, if you weren't already in this market, you definitely were chasing once we started to do this to the upside. I mean, it was a vacuum. Once you got above 71.75, it was a vacuum to 97.50. There was nothing really in the way of stopping this market, right? We were 8 wide here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wide here at this 81 level. That was your next upside destination. And then 97.50, but there really wasn't any overhead resistance. Now there is a little bit of overhead resistance, right? Still vacuum to get to 48.23, but a little bit of overhead resistance here. So tomorrow it'll be very interesting to see what we do. We go out with like I said, we go out with a triple distribution day to the upside. I'll mark all these destinations if you guys stick around long enough for that. Mark all these destinations for you guys. And then we do go out with a price probe above 96. So the most positive thing for buyers tomorrow is to either open up above 96, take out the daily high or the high day balance high here at 0325, grind up higher, or open up in the upper distribution, which is basically above 89.50. You open above 89.50, you're good. Buyers do not want to open up in the middle distribution, which starts at 72.50 and ends at 54.50. Okay, because this is a large range and we can get kind of chopped up in this area as well. So buyers want to open above 89.50 tomorrow and 96. Okay, we do that. Be a very, very strong market to the upside. Very good chance of us getting that 48.23 level where the single prints start to the upside. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark these destinations real quick, and I'll resume whenever I'm done. Alrighty, so there are the destinations. So starting from the top, all right, you have today's high 48.0325, price probe 47.96. All right, then we have single prints that start 47.8950. Those fill at 48.75. Let me zoom in here so you guys can see how, I mean, it's very strong, very powerful how this time frame just like opened up and exploded. It didn't even pull back. It just opened up and popped to the upside. But that set fills at 48.75. The next set starts at the low here, 47.8550. That gets filled at 47.7625. Below that, your next set starts at 47.7550. That fills at 47.7250. The next set does not start until 47.5425. And then you're in the lower distribution, and that set starts at 47.5275. 47.38 is the low of day. I'm going to highlight these distributions real quick just so you know what they look like. They are separated by the single prints, okay? So you'll treat each distribution as a separate day. So that is the lower distribution. This is going to be the middle distribution, okay? Right in there. And then you have multiple sets of single prints back to back, okay? So whenever you have multiple distributions of single prints back to back to back, the next distribution does not start until you get 3 wide or 3 time frames that trade back and forth through the same price point. So here you see that only 2 time frames traded back and forth between the 75 level, okay? And then we went single print, and then 3 time frames we had that traded back and forth between these areas before we probed to the upside above 96. So your upper distribution is slightly smaller, but there it is right there. And then you have the price probe, price spike to the upside as you see it right there. So the most positive thing is for buyers to open up in this upper distribution, okay? Buyers need to open up here in order for us to have any hope of taking out the balance high. If they do not, the single prints will most likely get filled, and then we'll test our middle distribution. So if we can't hold up here, tomorrow's chart might look something like we pull back down into here, test it, and then chop in this area, just for a few time frames, right? Or, we do the exact opposite of what I just drew out, and we just explode to the upside and go test our balance high on the weekly time frame, right? We get into these upper distributions up here, and then we test that all-time high, weekly balance high, right? Worst case scenario is we open up in this middle distribution, and then we just chop, right? We chop all up in this middle distribution tomorrow. Real quick, I did want to go over the NVDA chart. So let's go over that. I think it was on this. Yeah. So I had multiple things marked out on this chart, and we set all-time highs today in NVDA at 522.25. So I had multiple things marked on this. I had a daily balance low marked. I was expecting us to hold that. This high day here was our daily balance high at 495. Was looking for the market to hold above single prints that filled at 488. Jesus, English. 487.48. I was looking for us to hold above that. That's where the 20-day moving average was. If I look deeper into the 30-minute time frame, you can see in the after hours or the pre-market, you see how they pulled back, held that set of single prints right there where they filled, and then bounced in the pre-market, and then boom, exploded to the upside. So very, very, very good day for NVIDIA. If I were to pull this up on this chart here, and we look at the 30-minute time frame, I'm sure we'll see a set of single prints. Yep. Believe it or not, you do not have a set of single prints. There's just a grind to the upside, just a very large buy tail to the upside there. But yeah, we hit every destination that I marked yesterday while I was just goofing around. I was actually looking to see if we did pull back. I was going to buy, a call around the 473 level or the 483, depending on what happened. But clearly we opened up above, got that high day. Once we took that out, I mean, it was just game over, as that catalyst was just way too much for this market to handle on the upside. So there you guys have it. If you guys would like me to look over some equities or just kind of mark things like single prints, look for things of that nature, high day, mark all those on our 30-minute time frame, and kind of give you guys a review of the profile and what that looked like, just let me know in the comment down below, and I'll get back to you guys. Hopefully we'll make more equity videos moving forward, and then I'll update you guys on the swing trade, the SPY swing trade whenever I get out of that. Like I said, we are in the money pretty good right now, as SPY is trading. What SPY trade? SPY traded closed up at 474.28. So I'm about $1 in the money. Like I said, I had the 473, so I'm $1 in the money, and I'm looking for us to get up to that 477 high up here. So we take that out. Clearly I'll be getting out on the trade there, but hopefully we'll start one time framing up on the daily and then test that weekly balance high at some point this week. Once again, with all that being said, thanks again for the support, the likes. If you guys want a mentor and a great group of traders, go check out CamelbackTrading.org and Paul Asmar. He's a great guy. He'll help you learn everything you need to know about the markets. We'll catch you guys later. See you.